Hey, everybody. Hello, it's Rick DiClemente with Astrology Unplugged, version 298. How about that? 298, 6 years worth. Next week will be 299. We'll be talking about people with very strong Eris placements in their natal chart. First one I looked up, Machiavelli. Was I correct? People that stir things up. As a matter of fact, he's the one that coined the phrase. What? You? Oh, okay. What phrase he came up with is the ends justifies the means, which is interesting. That's very Arisian. Then I'm off on the 22nd and 29th because I'm going to go on a winter vacation. Then January 5th, we'll be back for show 300 with our supreme guest from Australia, Ksenia Moore, the astrologer. So that's what we're doing. Already the Leo's got her hand raised. Look at this. Okay. You get your hand raised?
No, I was clapping.
Oh. You can't do one hand. What's the sound of one hand clapping? Okay. Boy, that turns you people on, I swear to God. That was funny. We were getting near showtime, and all of a sudden I could hear Sigmund in the background. That's right, buddy. Okay. Tonight we're going to talk about something I was thinking about because I like to return to basics every now and then because I think it's really good because most of the people on this show are not going to become professional astrologers, but most people on the show really need to get better at astrology, and I think they enjoy that, and I think you do. And I wanted to repeat something from long ago, which is the theory that your sun sign, your strength, is also quite possibly your weakness. Not always, it's quite possible. In most cases, your sun sign needs the attributes of the sign opposite it. So, for example, when we take a look, if you're a Taurus and you're really based on my values and my stuff, you really need to look at our values and our stuff. Likewise, if you're Sagittarian and you're based on our mind, big mind, you need to counterbalance that with my mind, what's in my own mind. So we're going to get into all those. If I click the right buttons. Okay. I tell you anymore with all the buttons they put in front of you on Zoom, it's real easy to just turn the whole show off, which I've done before. Now, Mary Lou, what's with you? Where are you?
Here we go. Where am I?
Where are you?
I'm in Western Pennsylvania in my office.
What town?
I am in Venetia, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. You're very close because I'm down Perryopolis. Yeah, you're very close. Well, nice to have you with us. And you can't get in the doorway unless you show us your sun sign.
Show you?
Yeah, you have to tell us your sun sign or you ain't allowed in.
Okay. Well, I'm a Sagittarius.
All right. Well, that's good. That's fine. We always
Today's my birthday.
Well, happy birthday to you. And we always have too many Sagittarius, so it's just fine.
Hey.
Okay.
Mine's on Saturday.
Happy birthday.
You see, Meredith, if you've not watched, this is show 298, which means we've been on 6 years. And what's happened with this show over the last year, I'd say, is I've gradually opened up the microphones more and more. I used to be pretty uptight about keeping them closed because of feedback and mainly because I'm going brain dead and I don't want to lose my train of thought. But lately we've been just leaving it open and people are just talking and it's becoming a wild disaster. That's okay.
Unruly.
Now, Now, if Claudia, who is a very busy woman, if Claudia will follow through with the last few steps, you all will be able to see the new Astrology Unplugged t-shirt, front and back. And I'm not going to show you now until she gets through with the final steps. Then you'll be able to go click on the website and buy this t-shirt in several sizes, in several colors. And it says on the front, warning, I have been unplugged. And on the back, it shows the URL and all that. So if you want to join the club, please do. We're going to get started tonight with the sun signs. On one hand, people make too big a deal of your sun sign because people don't know that most people have about 4 or 5 signs in their chart strongly. That's almost everybody. Almost everybody has, like in my chart, I got Capricorn, I got Pisces, I got Aquarius, I got a lot of Libra, etc. Most people have 4 or 5. Very few have 3, very few have 6. It's 4 or 5. And I've even done shows in the past where I've listed your personal 4 or 5 in general order of their strength. This is why you're not always like your sun sign. You're oftentimes like other signs. For instance, Sigmund, our friend. Sigmund is a Virgo, but he has a whole lot of Libra. So you wouldn't know that if you didn't look at your chart. And when you got a whole lot of Libra, there are a whole lot of things in your life that aren't Virgo-like. But yet, when you get to know Sigmund, it's extremely Virgoan. Okay, now what I'm talking about tonight is your sign has a main attribute, and usually that attribute, such as Taurus and their persistence, that's their power. That's also very likely Taurus's problem, which is persisting when they should give up. They should give up way before they do. Sometimes pushing and pushing and pushing is not the answer. So you're going to see where your strength is oftentimes your weakness. Okay? And I'm going to explain it to you. I'm not taking any sides on any sides. I'm just showing you the basic astrology that is covered very clearly in that book that we wrote called The Exquisite Zodiac. As a matter of fact, in The Exquisite Zodiac, we wrote a really nice chapter on the 6 polarities. And I was real glad we did, and I thought it worked out very well. But there's a chapter on Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio, Gemini, Sag, etc. And it's really, really important that you understand that, especially Virgo, Pisces. Because when you understand the polarities of the zodiac, you understand why signs are the way they are, why you're similar to some signs and dissimilar to others, etc. Okay, we start with Aries people. What did I want to say? I tried when the book was near its end of writing it in 2011, I tried to come up with one single thing that every sign is always doing. And I did come up with it for most of them, but I really could not do it for all 12. And I was dismayed by that. I can get it down to a couple sentences. But for example, Aquarius is always up in the air in the field of mind, putting the big mental picture together. Always. They're always doing it. Capricorns, very true. They're always making sure. Virgos, always fixing. These things are always true. And this was really hard to drill down on every sign to get it, but I could not figure it out for all 12. So I'm going to do what I can. When you get to Aries, the thing that's exceptional about Aries, this is very hard to describe. Did I turn on the recording? Yes, I did. Aries is the angel that falls from grace when he left God. You got to picture this oneness of God. And when you picture oneness, there's no way you can even picture it. Because to picture it, you have to put it out there to picture it. You can't put it out there because automatically you got duality. So Aries is the mythical, made up dream of separating from God so that you could experience himself. I wonder what I would be like if I separated. Then I would be separate. Ego is born. I'm separate. Suffering, duality is born. So this is where it all starts. It's all explained carefully in the book. Why does the Aries do what it does? I mean, when I was writing this section, I took weeks. I had to become an Aries. I'm a Capricorn. I had to become an Aries to figure it out. And I couldn't figure it out because it was too simple. So as you go through the zodiac, signs 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then when you look back to Aries, you can understand it better because it's so simple. Now, I tell this story all the time. I hope you're not bored with it, but this is this simple. When my young child was in the garage with me one day, he took the wooden board. Can I have a nail and a hammer, Dad? Yes. So Taylor took the nail and the hammer and he nailed the nail into the board, and he showed it to me. Look, Dad, look what I did. That's the essence of Aries. It's that simple. And it has to be that simple. It's the fascination with the self. Oh, look what I did. Ain't I cool? Look what I did. And you have to start out that way because the zodiac can't just burst out of wholeness into extreme complexity. It bursts into simplicity. And this is why when you're with Aries people, a lot of the times, they have to take what you're talking about and turn it into what they're talking about. They have to. They take the story and make it their story. It's not because they don't want you to have a story. They just can only see things through their own eyes. That's why in the zodiac, when we wrote the book, we were very careful in the beginning to express that the bottom half of the zodiac is not the selfish half. We call it the self-oriented half. Me, we. Me, the me half, you develop by learning from yourself. So that's where that came from. So Aries are typically fascinated with themselves. This can turn, if you're not careful, this can turn to selfishness. People won't want to be around them. But usually Aries people are very pleasant. They seem to oversimplify everything. There goes my voice. They're very adventurous, and the thing that they're always doing is testing themselves because they want to become enamored with what they can do. Look what I did. That's a big deal. You can't understand this unless you're an Aries. I have a very good friend ever since we were 8 years old, and we're both retirement age. He's done well in his job. He's going to spend his retirement fishing in the Gulf of Mexico. That's it. I said, anything else? No. He wants the adventure of fishing for large catches in the Gulf. He wants that adventure. He needs that adventure. I can't translate it anymore, but I kept saying in the book, be patient, read more signs as you get down the zodiac and you look back, you'll be able to understand it more. This is why Aries always have a very soft, kind of gentle, simple innocence about them. Usually. Now, what I'm talking about is since they're basing their life on themselves all the time, they can get in trouble from the same quality, reversed. In other words, some people can only take it so much that everything's based on you. The whole world's not based on just you. And Aries gets in a lot of trouble because of this. And a lot of Aries have to try very hard to establish the opposite part of the chart, the Libra part, which is all about us. Our identity through being two people together. Aries, my identity, Libra, our identity. So the answer to Aries problems in general is to quit thinking so much about themselves, start thinking about us. And they don't really have a good sense of what an us is. They're not based on us. They're based on me. You also notice this in the springtime when we go through Aries. You'll notice that you become more self-oriented. I noticed one year, God, I can't remember now, 14, 15 years ago, I noticed when Uranus went into Aries. That's a big deal because it's been 84 years through the zodiac, and all of a sudden it goes into a brand new zodiac. I noticed that people came to me, what do I want to do with my life? I don't know what I want to do with my life. Can you help me find out what I'm going to do with my life? I don't know. Well, Aries people always know what they want to do because they're simple. Their only containment is about themselves. Usually Aries people know what they want to do. And they can't figure out what's wrong with the rest of us. Just say it. What you want to do. And other signs, I don't know. A lot of people, I don't know. They really don't know. They're too complex. They don't have the simple view. So one year when Uranus, the massive planet, which is about selfness and about individuality, when it crossed into Aries, I noticed that all my clients, all of a sudden they knew what they wanted to do. I said, really? Yeah, I know. I know what I'm gonna do. Really? Yeah. And for months or years, I can't remember. For a good while, my clients were coming in more self-assured. That's what it came from. The Uranus in the collective with the Aryan imprint. So that sense of me can really be good. And unless it's around too many we's, and the people in the we atmosphere just get fed up with it. And it tends to become selfish. It's all about me. So they have to watch that. So that's what happens with the Aries energy. They have to counterbalance it with Libra energy. When we get to Libra, you'll see that's the opposite. So we go into Taurus, second sign. Taurus, Scorpio, second sign, eighth sign. Taurus is based on self-worth, my stuff, my values. Everything is mine. It's the stage of the baby where everything he grabs is mine. You don't go up to a baby and take their stuff. It's my stuff. That's the stage, second stage of the zodiac. And what's happening in that stage is the ego that's growing now. Now that Aries started the trouble, Aries starts all the trouble by leaving God. The only thing that happens in the next 11 stages is the self tries to get stronger. Still has suffering, got to get stronger. Still has suffering, got to get stronger till finally, step 12, you realize that's the whole problem to begin with, was separating. We've got to get back. That's the final stage of Pisces. The original title of this book was Pisces, the Ultimate Sign. And that's what's meant by that. So in Taurus, what can happen if you know, I had a woman the other day, had 2 Taurus parents. And I always interview people basically about what their parents are like, because I want to know what this person I'm reading for had to deal with during her life. And this woman had the typical, not always, but she had the typical 2 Taurus parents that were wrapped up in themselves. You can picture 2 Archie Bunkers in their chair talking to themselves. And there's nobody in the world except those 2. Nobody else. It's just those 2. Taurus very possessive. In many cases, it's not always. In many cases, they cannot understand that you have a point of view. Think about this. I'm talking truth here. They cannot understand the fact, some Tauruses can, depends on their chart and how many outer planets are in their chart to how big they are. But typically Taurus is a small sign. They cannot understand that you are separate, that you exist, and you have a different point of view, and that you possibly could be right. Because in a Taurus's mind, you're always wrong. It's just a matter of how much. Now, they can be really wonderful, pleasant people. I've had Taurus parents that are very generous, very kind. But usually there's a sense about Taurus that's a smaller world. It's very much like the Hobbit with his little furry feet up to the fire, and he's got his pipe, and he's drinking his tea, and he's just really content in his little hobbit hole, and it's really warm, and friends stop by now and then, and everything's just nice and simple. Taurus. Jimmy Stewart's a real good example of the feeling I'm looking for when I describe Taurus. Of course, Jimmy Stewart was a world experience actor, but you could sense that down-to-earthness with him, that down-to-earthness. Let me get you a cup of coffee. Come on in, have a cigarette. What's going on? Haven't seen you in a while. Down to earth, very pleasant. Aries and Taurus. So where Taurus gets in trouble is they live in a too small of a world. They don't appreciate what's outside of them, and they make the mistake of thinking everything is theirs. That's why we bring in the Scorpio, the opposite sign, where they think everything is ours. Mine, ours. This whole sense goes back and forth through the whole zodiac. It's all covered in the book. So the Taurus is me and my stuff, or my values. I find this sign more and more to be about my self-worth, our self-worth, myself. Matter of fact, this is more accurate to say this is about my self-worth, and this is about my self-worth when I'm around somebody else. Is a big deal in astrology. My sense of self-worth. The number one problem in astrology is self-worth. My self-worth. What's my self-worth like when I'm with you or with others? So you see transits going through here, and all of a sudden you see people start to change. Hey, I'm not listening to you anymore. If I'm going to change my self-worth, I'll do it myself. Thank you. I'm not going to let you impact me. So it's very subtle to watch this stuff. So all the signs can be wonderful. They can all be rotten. Most of our world dictators have been Tauruses. It all depends how much you got of one sign. In general, you do not want too many planets in one place. You just don't, because you get too imbalanced. Okay. There are many ways inside a chart that it becomes strongly this, strongly that, weakly this, weakly that. It's just very complex. That's why tonight is general sun sign work. So Taurus is about, one of its main things is its power is its persistence. It's a fixed earth sign. It digs in. We win the Civil War because he finally fired everybody. The affixed sign Aquarian, Lincoln, he fired them all and put U.S. Grant in charge. He went to Vicksburg. He planted himself outside of Vicksburg and starved the whole town. He stayed put. That's how he won the war. Then they went across to Georgia and did the same thing. Him and Sheridan and Sherman. I'll just outweight you. I'll outlast you. We're just going to be fixed. Well, after a while, imagine fighting an opponent that just won't move. Okay, well, in that case, that's how U.S. Grant ended up becoming president, and we win the war because he just war mouthed. What happens with Taurus is, like for instance, I quit a company with 80 programmers in it, 80 software people really going somewhere. And all of a sudden, one guy came in and ran the place into the ground. And everybody was just hightailing out of this company as fast as you could. And who was left with 2 Tauruses? Who was left in the company with 2 Tauruses? Because their theory is just wait it out, stand it out, stick with it. And in a lot of cases, that's true. But in some cases, it's not. So there's your example of how the Taurus, they can get themselves in trouble by waiting too long, being too fixed. Sometimes being fixed is a real good strength, and sometimes it works against you. Okay, you getting my point? Get my point, Mary Lou? Get my point? Okay. All right. See, we don't have a lot of people tonight because everybody's a genius about astrology. They already know this stuff. See? Okay. You think I'm talking crap tonight? You wait till you see me and wait till January 5th when I get on with Ksenia, because we're going to talk to the world about why they need to drop everything and learn astrology. We're coming out. It's going to be something. Yes, Claudia's getting a ringside seat for that one. Okay, Gemini, 3rd sign. So the child is growing up theoretically. The cosmic child is growing up into a toddler. Gemini is all about the mind. The child is a toddler, talkative, why, learning to talk, learning to explore. That's Gemini. It's their strength. Look what's on the other side of the fence. Look what I found. What's on the next side of the fence? Look what I found. What's on the other side of the fence? Look what I found. That's the strength of Gemini. I learned to talk. I learned to communicate. I don't want to touch anything. I don't want to become involved, Mr. Trump. Gemini, I don't want to touch. I don't want touching me. That's subjectivity. We're not ready for subjectivity. It's a big story. That's why the initial endeavor into that book was, Rick, figure out why Gemini has 2 sides. Rick, you come home at night to your Gemini mother. Which one's home? Is this one at home? Is that one at home? Right, Claudia? Which Gemini mother's at home? I wanted to know why. So I started asking all over the country to very advanced astrologers. Why is Gemini 2 people? Because 2 people. Because it's got 2 moons. Yeah, but why? Why? Nobody could answer me. So I really gave it a lot of thought for several years. And I put my answer in the book, which I think it's pretty clear. I think it's either right or else it's really in the neighborhood of why they seem to be 2 different sides. I will tell you this, without a doubt, the Gemini women are completely different than the Gemini men. Usually, Gemini men are pretty nice. They're fun, loving, they're playful. The Gemini women can be that way, but when they get pissed off, they got a barbed tongue. A barbed tongue. They'll get you with it. They can really say stuff. Gemini is a light sign. They're not here to take things seriously. They're here to just jump over the fence. I'm telling you, consistently, jump over the fence. Geminis live in the future. Tauruses and Cancers live in the past. Geminis live in the future. If I go over the fence, I'll be all right. If I go over the next fence, I'll be all right. And see, this is one of the main problems with America because we have too strong a Gemini in a natal chart. That's why we're a disposable society. So sometimes you can't just keep jumping over the fence to solve the problem. You can't just keep escaping. And Geminis are known for nail them, escape, nail them, escape. You said that. It's on a videotape. I saw you say it. I didn't say nothing. Look at Trump, Gemini. Gemini does not understand the seriousness of the world yet. It's childlike. It jumps over the fence. Look what I found. And it doesn't want to go deep into stuff. It wants to go laterally, like a water bug. It doesn't want to go deep, like Scorpio, like Taurus. It wants to go laterally. It's bored to death. There's no sign more bored than Gemini. So instead of going to the next side of the fence, going to the next side of the fence, sometimes Gemini just needs to stop, stay where they're at, and look around and see the value of things around them. So it needs to become more like Sagittarius, the sign opposite. So when you have your Gemini, I'm looking over the fence. I'm looking locally. This is my mind. I'm starting to think. I'm starting to talk, etc. Sag is about our world, bigger world, grade school, college, grade school, exchange students, travel abroad, etc. Philosophy, politics, large scale communications. This is small scale. So we see how the me side and the we side just keeps unfolding. So a lot of times in Gemini's life, what gets them in trouble is they say a lot of things, then they try to get out of it. So does Sag. They say a lot of things, then they say, I didn't mean it. Say a lot of cutting things. Oh, I didn't mean it. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. No, it didn't. Yeah, you did. No, it didn't. This happens a lot with Sag. It happens a lot with Gemini. It's because they just don't want to be hampered. They don't want to be held back. They want to just say what they want to say, but they're starting to learn in the zodiac that what you say has repercussions. So Gemini kind of talks his way around things, and sometimes it's better if it just doesn't even try. Just let it be. Let it be. But you will definitely find, Liza disagrees with me, but she's wrong on this one. Gemini men are much more laid back. Gemini women are much more barbed tongue. They really are. Okay. I've seen so many responses from Geminis through the years. I just don't want to get that serious about stuff. Let's not get so serious. Okay, all right. I've done surveys. Through the years, I've done a lot of surveys. Who are your two favorite signs? In general, people, their favorites are the Gemini people and Libra people. What are you doing with your thumb there, Sigmund? Thumbnastics? Okay, he's doing thumbnastics. I'm not going to ask. Anyhow, that people love the Gemini Sag, Gemini Libras, because they're very friendly, very talkative, very social. Okay, now, Geminis, if they're always doing anything, they're always exploring mentally. Exploring mentally. That's what they're doing. exploring. Isn't that neat? It is not a shock that about every other sentence, a Gemini will use the word interesting. Almost every other sentence. Interesting. Boy, it's interesting. Boy, it's interesting. You watch. See, I make note of these things. I'm one of these crazy guys. Okay, so the soul has gone through the first third, goes into the fourth sign of Cancer. This is the first time that the soul has experienced water, which is known as feelings. This is the first sign that the soul has experienced feelings. It's a big deal to the young soul. It's a water sign. Here comes the Taurus. Water signs, when they experience feelings, it's like tossing them into the water and they don't know how to swim. What are they going to do? They freak out and they start to grab onto whatever you can grab onto. That's a very Cancerian trait, which is the United States, Cancer country, July 4th. So Cancers become enamored not only with feelings, they start to notice Cat Stevens' song, "Ooh, baby, it's a wild world, and you got to be careful what's out there." Cancer, Cat Stevens, "Ooh, baby, it's a dangerous world out there." He's warning you. You're emotional. Now you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable. Things can happen to you. Cancers always worry about two things. Always. Two things. Being abandoned, being attacked. Think about the US. It's a very American thing. Being abandoned, being attacked. It's a Cancerian quality. That's why Cancerian is obsessed with one thing, which is called taking care of myself. That's America. Well, when you're obsessed with taking care of yourself, there's a real good likelihood that you're going to be taken care of. There's also a likelihood that people are going to get tired of taking care of you because they want you to see that there's somebody out there beside you. Who? That's Capricorn. It's a tricky sign, Cancer. So you've got the Cancer, me and my feelings, us and our feelings. No, I'm sorry, me and my feelings, us and our stability in the community, taking care of us and our place in the community. This is me taking my place in the family, us in the community, me and the family. Real black and white here. Family, community. Okay? So if you become too obsessed with me and my family and my feelings, you'll get dumped by people. People will lock the door on you unless you develop the Capricorn part, which is my concern for a bigger realm of people, not just my family. I talked to a Cancer woman last year. We were sitting on the porch, just BSing, just the nicest woman, very Cancerian. And we're passing around the BS story of what would you do with millions of dollars? And every one of them said, I would bring peace to the world, peace and health to the world, peace and health to the world, peace and health to the world. We got to her, peace and health to my family. This is very important. It's a physical threat to Cancers if the guy next door is healthy. Now, some Cancers are beyond that. They're much bigger. They think about a much bigger family unit, but a lot of Cancerians, they live in a small world. And I used to play softball for a couple in their business, Cancer man, Cancer woman. And when I would go to their house to visit, the nonverbal message was, when's he going to leave? I picked it up. I don't blame him. They want to return to the quiet safety of the family. This is very normal. There's nothing wrong with it, but it can become wrong when it becomes too much, too centric on just the little family group, and it doesn't get big enough. So that's the problem. Cancer's very simple. Take care of myself, Capricorn, making sure things are done right. Making sure I'm okay, making sure things are done right. Same quality. All these signs can be the best people you ever met. They can be the worst you ever met. It all depends on how these things are blended. But when you get to know the real energy of the archetypal self, then you really get to understand astrology. You take a look at the USA and see how many problems are based upon, I got mine, buddy, go get yours. I got mine, go get yours. That doesn't agree with our moon in Aquarius. I thank God our moon in Aquarius, as the USA's chart, is about all of us. Thank God. But these are very basic principles. Is this making sense, folks? Okay, good. Very good. Wet my whistle. Have an interview sometime with Mike Tyson. Check out the cancer inside him. It's called a tenacious sign, Jimmy Cagney. Pisces is not all wimpy. I'm sorry, Cancer is not all wimpy. It can be really tenacious. They got those big claws. Thus, you want to fight Mike Tyson? Watch out. The dude will take care of himself. Can be a really intense sign. Leo. Now we got the teenager. So in the Cancer stage is imbued with a sensitivity to the soft inside crab, the outside crab shell. Cancer's more delicate on the inside than they want to show. And when they become leonine by growth, they become the teenager of the zodiac. Can I have the keys tonight? I won't have any problem. Give me the keys. I'll be back. I won't have anything to drink or nothing. Don't worry about that. So it's very much a teenager of the zodiac, acting overconfident. Their favorite phrase is four-letter word, starts with F. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. They'll drive you nuts with that word, which means, of course, that they're not fine, which means don't ask them because they don't want to be doubted. And that's what happens in the Leo stage. They're growing out of this uncertainty of the 11-year-old Cancer. They're growing into the teen. They're becoming more self-assured. This is why Leo's always talked about with the limelight. Put the limelight on me. That's incorrect. It is true that they want the limelight, but that's not why. That's what this book's about. It explains to you why. The why is the Leo needs to grow in confidence. You grow in confidence by getting the light shined on you and people applauding for your performance. Didn't you do great? And your confidence grows. It's that simple. You talking to me, De Niro? You're not talking to me. Are you talking to me? That kind of quality of an actor, that's the Leo coming out of De Niro. That quality. You wouldn't dare to talk to him because the self-pride is so strong. So Leo is very much a sign of pride. It's very much a sign of respect. You had better show me respect. Now, I've never tried to disrespect Claudia. who's a Leo, and I'm not going to start to try either. I'm real glad that I respect her and it remains just fine. But I wouldn't imagine in the past when she is a Mussolini. Yeah, right, Erica. A lot of Leos can really be twisted. A lot of Leos can be, here's the problem with Leo. Is their pit bottomless? And I did figure out a rather genius thing in the book, I must say. One day, Leos live in a finite world. There's only so much applause, there's only so much salary, there's only so much attention, etc. And that's true. Not all of them, but Leo, another thing you will see in the books, Leo is the sign of jealousy. Almost all Leos I've ever read for have problems with jealousy, but they think it's their workers jealous of them. So they think it is. And a lot of them have it really twisted. And thank God, God is very well balanced for a Leo. She's not a real good example of a typical Leo, but a Leo is somebody that when they're young, they need to have themselves validated. And as they grow older, they don't need it so much. They can validate themselves. And this is one reason they get really upset. If you're around a Leo, you had better show them respect or forget it, get out. Who knows Leos? Okay, how do you do with respect when you're around them? Show them respect or not? You are showing respect. Now, in the zodiac, because they really need it, and they really feel like they deserve it, and they really feel like they deserve it, whether they deserve it or not. That's the problem. That's what can be the problem. Now, in the zodiac, Leo is about this is self, is me expressing myself. This is a teenager. Look what I can do. Look what I can do. I'm going on stage. Look what I can do. I can sing. Look what I can do. And Leos love to create. They're really creative. Ruled by the sun. Sun shines. I sing. And look at Madonna. And these people, Leonine, they're very strong. McCartney's chart's full of Leo in it, even though he's a Gemini. And this is where these songs just keep pumping out of him like a jukebox. The problem comes in when I don't want anybody on stage with me. Thank you. I'm on stage. I'm on here by myself. Aquarius, we're on here together. I'm on stage by myself. Aquarius, we're on stage together. We don't want any more individuality. We want us on stage. I want me on stage. Okay, so there you come into the Leo who you compliment, but there's never enough compliments. Is bottomless. That's the hopeless kind of Leo. Okay? Most Leos are generally cool, easy to get along with. And they don't have it so bad. The males have much more problem with Leo energy than the female. There's no doubt. Because male energy is much more aligned with being a leader of some kind. Okay, so now you see the soul keeps growing through 5 stages. And at the 6th stage, really critical stage, the Virgo stage, the Virgo stage is the last of the first 6, and it has to get it together because the soul is unconsciously heading towards we. 6 signs of me, all of a sudden we're going to go into 6 signs of we. So the Virgo's got this sense about it that we better get ourselves together because we're going to go to the ball. Cinderella's going to the ball. Okay, so the Virgo's got this great sense of clean up our act. Now, astrologically, the Virgos are always doing one thing. fixing. Fixing. Mental things. What do you say the other day? I asked Sigmund, what are you doing? He says, I'm out on Wikipedia fixing things. So he told me he's going into certain Zen type paragraphs, stories, fixing it, making sure it's right. That's what Virgos do. And they're really, really good at it. There's nobody better than the Virgos. You're going to hire anybody to do any job, hire Virgo. Period. Doctor, nurse, plumber, Virgo. Unless they're really messed up somehow. Okay, so Virgo has this purity sense. So when we got to the end of the book and the book was done, I became very unhappy with the Virgo chapter after 3 years of writing it. I felt that I wrote too much about Virgo's perfectionism. And it's true they have a great sense of perfectionism, but I wanted to express two other ideas, which I finally got a hold of it before it went out the door. And the Virgo sense is I wanted to add two qualities about Virgos that I felt were really underrated and really profound. And that is that they care and that they are purist. You look at Virgos and it's usually true. Now, Virgo is a touchy sign because they don't really care for people who don't care for their life. They're really purist. They're very reverent. That's why the Virgin. They're very aligned with the goddess energy. They're very appreciative to have life. They're purist. And they're really not happy to be around people that don't care. Like somebody does a sloppy job, drives them nuts. Because let me do it. Just let me do it. I don't want any credit. Just let me do it. Oh, we got Kathy going, yeah. Just let me do it because I'll do it right. The place should shine. It shines. I just had my car detailed by a Virgo male. Let me tell you what, I got a clean car. Clean as a whistle. Took them forever and I didn't care. Expensive, I didn't care. I knew it was coming back clean. So it was good money spent. So, the problem with being a fixer is what? What are you saying to God when you're fixing everything? Everything's broken. But it ain't. But it is. But it ain't. There's the problem. What does it say about Virgoan attitude towards God? You keep sending me seconds. No, I don't. Yes, you do. I have to fix it. And God says, no, you don't. It's not as broken as you think. So there's where the whole syndrome of Virgo perfectionism is a killer. It's a killer. Because if you look hard enough, you're going to find something that you think is a flaw. But it's not. So there you see the Virgo and its exclusion, get tight, perfect everything, rather than Pisces, open up, let everybody in, doesn't matter. Virgo, yes, it does matter. It's all tight, it's exacting. No, it's not, let everybody in. And the ultimate sign is Pisces. So there's where Virgo hurts himself. Without a doubt, the number one sign I read for, Virgo women come out of the woodwork for me. I don't know why. I don't see Virgo men very often. And Virgo women love to be in sync with goddess energy. They want to be in sync with what I'm supposed to do. Boy, is this a big deal. I want to be in sync with what I'm supposed to do. First of all, they're convinced that there is a supposed to do. When there isn't, where's it written? There's no supposed to do, but they're imbued with this archetypal pressure inside. Be productive and do it right, right? They're just imbued with this. It's a wonderful sense that they're going to do what's right, this sense of what's right. But what happens with that when it becomes too strong, and usually it does, is they don't have a sense of freedom, allowing themselves to do what they want, because that could run in opposition to what's right. But what Virgos learn, and they're really good learners, they're really evolving fast now because Neptune's been opposite Virgo. They've learned a lot in the last 15 years. Virgos are really getting better and better and better at not being a perfectionist. If I don't do the dishes, I'll come home tonight and the sky has not fallen. Yeah, it did. No, it did. Okay. I like the house when it's clean. Okay, you like the house when it's clean. Do you like the house when you got to drive everybody nuts in the place to get it clean? The hassle, is it worth it? So that's where the problem comes in with Virgo. They're very good. One of the problems you got to watch for, very common with young children, is that if they have Virgo parents, it's very common. It's not always, but they'll say, I can never do anything right. And this can be really damaging. So I get right on that when I can. And the Virgo parent is just trying to do what's right. Can't blame them. But they don't, oftentimes they don't understand the impact that they're having by being so heavy about it. So, as I said, Pisces has been on a long time, and they've been learning the opposite, which is what they need. They've been getting looser. They're starting to relax. They're letting things go, letting things be. And you start out little. And I think they've been doing a lot better. I spend a lot of time, majority of my time, talking about Virgo energy. In fact, the number one illness, without a doubt, in the zodiac is Virgo people, intestinal problems. Virgo people, stomach problems. And that comes from not letting things flow. Stop it, fix it. Find something wrong, fix it. Get tight, let it go. Stop it, let it go. Let it go. So your mind is always telling the body what the story is. And the body's just trying to keep you happy. And the mind says to the body, stop it, fix it, stop everything. Imagine what goes on in your insides. Let it go, let it go, let it go, stop it. So I really think that that's true. And I have seen I've counseled many Virgo people who their intestinal area has gotten better and better as they've learned to relax. It's gotten a lot better. So that's really good. Now we go to Libra. Big deal. We cross the zodiac now. We cross into the we have. We're no longer about me. I'm no longer learning about me just from me. I'm now going to start learning from others. And this is a big deal in Libra. Libra is all about me plus you. Big difference, major change. Because it's not longer me, Aries, me and what did I learn about myself? It's now Libra, us. What did we learn about ourselves? Lennon and Yoko. Okay? It's us. John Lennon, the Libra. Look what happened when he brought his partner into the band. Okay. All right. But Libra has to come about. It's the sign of learning to we, learning to be an us, sounding board partners. They don't need a partner as much as they think they do. It's very common that they get married 2-3 times. as they try to find the perfect partner. They're really, really good at partnering. Simon and Garfunkel, Simon and Libra. They're really good at partnering. Almost everybody I've ever seen in business, if they have a lot of Libra, they will do it with a partner. Sigmund, I don't know you well enough in your past, but with your 4 planets in Libra, I will guarantee you, if you've ever gone into business, it's always been with a partner. True? Okay. I got 3 planets in Libra myself. Same with me. It's just a Libra quality. You need somebody to sound bouncing your ideas, sounding board off the other person. So in Libra's case, the problem becomes too much compromising, too much, well, whatever you think, buddy, what do you think? And the Libra gets lost by over-compromising, and therefore they need the opposite, the Aries. More of I'm sure of myself. Me, what do I want? Zodiac is just perfectly balanced. As a matter of fact, it could be called exquisite. It's exquisitely balanced. Okay, so Libra is a really misunderstood sign. Libra, everybody thinks the scales. Oh, it's the scales, man. It's the scales. It's harmony. It's justice. That's not what it's about. That's what they do often. Yeah. That's not what it's about. What Libra's about is comparing. That's what you do with scales. You compare. That's what Libra is always doing. Virgo's always fixing. Libra is always comparing. Bigger house, smaller house. Nicer job, prettier woman. More money, less money. Watch them. Another truth. Libras always have a beautiful partner. Always, 98% of the time. Beautiful man, beautiful woman. They just have to be surrounded by beauty. You look at a beautiful knockout woman, you'll find her with a Libra man, vice versa. Very common. They just are attracted to beauty. They're attracted to partnership. They're really good sounding boards. Lee Iacocca. A lot of famous people in business are Librans because they're just really intelligent. They're very street smart. Lou Dobbs. I don't agree with these people, but they're very well-respected minds. They're street smart. They're winners. They land on their feet. They don't mess around. They almost always end up with a good job because they know how to play the game of life. They're the last sign you see in this group because they're not hairy-fairy. They're down to earth, country club, making money, making deals, smart, buying property, getting a nice car, Hilton. Now, the ones that are here always have a strong Neptune. Always. They have a T-squared in Neptune. They got Neptune at the midheaven, Neptune on their sun. The Libras that show up here, always because the Neptune gets them beyond the society of Libra. Libra is all about being socially accepted, obsessed with being socially accepted. Very good sign, very nice people, charming, very tactful, but not the deepest. They're just learning to, they're not the sense of partnership in terms of really deep passion. That comes next in Scorpio. I haven't done this basic stuff in a long time. So we're learning to have relationships. We run into the whole quadrant of relationships, all 3 of these signs. Libra, Scorpio, Sag. And the Libra gets in trouble when it overcompromises and needs its Aries part. What about me? How do I feel? Instead of how about us? You see, when you're in trouble, you always go to your sun sign. And when Libra's in trouble, it always goes to its usness. Aries in trouble, it always goes to its meanness. What about me? What about us? Okay? Look around you, you'll see this. What's Libra always doing? Comparing. Why are they comparing? Because they're an air sign. They're smart. And they're comparing other people's ideas. They're very socially with it. They'll tell you what the latest it is. What's the latest trend? What's the latest style? What's in? They're very smart people. Now, as we get on through the zodiac, you have the young adult in Libra, now becoming like the young adult that gets married in Scorpio. The eighth sign is very intense. Scorpio is the sign. The eighth sign is the sign of emotional combining, the urge to merge. It's your daytime soap operas. That's what Scorpio is. Over in Taurus, remember Taurus is laid back, hobbit hole, fireplace, got the pipe. Not worried about a thing. They got their stuff. They got their stuff. They're satisfied. Scorpio's up, opposite. I gotta have my baby. Where's my baby? Obsessed with their relationship. Obsessed with their relationship. People with a lot of Scorpio planets. Scorpio moon, Scorpio Venus, Scorpio rising. They're obsessed with the one and one. The one and one is supposed to be 3, not 2. What's wrong with the one and one? And this is why you got to be very careful of the typical Scorpio, because are they blending with you to become something greater? Or are they blending with you so they can suck off of you? That's the story. The females are usually a lot better than the males. The females, about 60% of them are takers. About 80% of the males are. You can tell right away when you're with them. Are they going to take from me? Are they sucking my energy? Or are they really sharing it? I was looking at the beautiful chart today of the Scorpio Sally Field. And she just got this glowing beauty about her. Julia Roberts, same way. Just this glowing, giving, powerful, emotionally strong. Both of them do, but some don't. So that's what you got to watch out for. So this is kind of hard to talk about. But what's going on in the zodiac here is you got me and my stuff, us and our stuff, me and my values, us and our values. Well, if you don't watch it, what Scorpio becomes is what's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. You got to watch out for that. Okay, that's why you need to develop the Taurus stuff. Make sure you're not just getting high off of the relationship. Make sure that you yourself have your own substance. So Scorpio is a very hard sign to be because it's fixed water. I love. I hate. Fixed. Ice. Intense. You ain't talking me out of it. That's why it's tough. It's not flexible. Like I was telling you the other night, Claudia, about why Moon in Scorpio is in its fall. It's just not made to flex. So whenever I see charts, and this is true, I see this all the time. I wrote this in the book. Whenever I see charts with a lot of planets in Libra and Scorpio, the first two signs of relationships, when I see a lot of people, when I see people with a lot of planets here, it's really tough because everything in the world lives and dies with your relationships. Oh my God. Oh my. I don't have to tell you guys anything. You hear enough about it. And as you know, the world goes on besides relationships. So that's the trouble with the seventh and eighth sign. It's just so obsessed with it. So that's what's kind of neat about we got Mary Lou still with us, but Sagittarians come along and ninth stage. And that's a nice stage because they're getting past the adult who's married. They're getting to be an older citizen. And you're preparing to the ninth stage, you're preparing to go out in the world and meet other people. This is the world and others in this quadrant. But this is the final stage of relationships. So Sag is not about me and my relationships anymore. It's beyond single relationships. It's about me and everybody. Now, let's all go vote. Let's all go to college. What's your concept? What do you want to do? I don't care. Let's just go. I want to travel. Where do you want to go? I don't care. I just want to go. That's Sagittarius. They just want to go. You want to be married to two people? Yeah, why not? That's a typical response to Sag. Yeah, why not? It'd be fun. Sagittarius simple. License plate. If it ain't fun, I'm not doing it. If it ain't fun, I'm not doing it. So it's a little hard to figure this one out. What is Sag's power that would be better if it reflected over to Gemini? This is kind of a difficult one. Sag is power is just letting go of things. Don't worry about stuff because there's a real reaction against the sign before it. All signs react heavily against the sign before it. And Sag gets real reactionary to all the heat in the kitchen in Scorpio, and they become, ooh, let's just blow it out. Bette Midler, let's just have some fun. Ooh, just have some fun. Let it go. Don't worry so much. So I guess the only difference here is Sag is a bigger mind, a large-scale mind, and sometimes they can get themselves in trouble on too broad a level, and they need to come back to their own mind, see how their own mind works. If their own mind, you can't just talk all the time in big generalities without having your own software straight in your own brain. That's how I see that one. So Sag is a really great sign. It's a positive sign, happy sign. Its strength is Pittsburgh is a city with 5 planets in Sagittarius. Got 5 planets in Sag. Buy you a shot and a beer, buddy. What do you say, Steelers? That's Pittsburgh. Sagittarius. Hey, don't worry about it. Slap on the back. A lot of times, the slap on the back doesn't work. And this is where you get the negative side of Sag, which is called promising and not delivering. The negative side of Sagittarius. Because their nature, hey, what the heck? Hey, what the heck? Unless they got other planets in Capricorn or Scorpio or something. Hey, what the heck? Hey, don't worry about it. Okay? And that's why that flippancy can also become their problem if they don't watch it. I must say, of all the signs in the zodiac, this is probably the sign that has the least trouble. because they're a cheerleader, fun-loving. Walt Disney, fireworks. Disney was a Sagittarian, perfect example of Sagittarian. But they don't have as many troubles as other people do. Okay, now since I got 11 minutes left and I got 3 big signs to go through, you get to Capricorn, you're now in the 10th stage, you're now in the quadrant of the world. Now you take heavy responsibility for the whole world, heavy responsibility for just the family. The whole world, just family, me and my family. Oh no, it's us and the whole world. All the governments, etc., etc. Capricorn can be a heavy-duty sign. It's very serious because it got so much responsibility that's given to them by Sag. You look at 1995 when Pluto entered Sag through 2008, 95 through 2008, when Pluto was going through Sag. What was going on? Hey, rent it. Hey, don't borrow it. Don't worry about it. Borrow it. Lease it. Don't worry about it. Hey, put it on a card. Then Pluto went into Capricorn in 08. All the bills came due. Couldn't do it anymore. So all of the flippancy of Sag came home to roost in 08 and 07 with the financial collapse, and it's still with us today, 2023. We got till next March, another year or two. It's going to be going back and forth. We got another year or two till it comes out of Capricorn. So that'll be good. The heaviness will lift up as Pluto goes into Aquarius. But what happens in Capricorn? Capricorn, I really was pleased with this after a lot of work, and my dad was one, and my wife was one, and I is one. To figure out that's what Capricorn's always doing, making sure. Just like Virgos, always fixing, making sure. You're with a Virgo, they're going to drive you. We're in a Capricorn, they're going to drive you nuts. Well, make sure you got your rubbers on your feet. Make sure you got your coat on. Make sure you take your medicine. Make sure. And they're exactly right. And sometimes you're just a lot better off when you don't make sure and you screw up. See, I got some Sag in me, which reacts against my Capricorn. But, making sure is one way you get a society to work. So, the thing about Capricorn Cancer is Capricorn to make sure the whole country is doing well. Cancers make sure the family's doing well. You need both. You need both. You really can't, or the business and the home, You can't get by with just the home. You have to have the business, the world. And that's why Cancer Capricorn's a very common marriage. You see that a lot. Making sense? I got Kathy to say yes, and that's good. Okay, Aquarius. I like to pick on you to make sure you're still awake. Okay, Aquarius, sign 11. Opposite Leo. Sign 11 is critical because, watch this, critical. Watch this. I was in the oneness with God. I didn't need anything. I was in the oneness with God. It was all one thing. There was no other. But somehow, whatever, the fallen angel, I decided to try being a self. Now I got problems already. There's me and there's a self. Want to see what it's like? Well, now I got insecurity because I'm divorced now from the big self, the big oneness. Now I'm a self. So what am I going to do? I don't know. Going to give it up? I don't know how to give it up. So let's go forward. Let's become more earthbound. Let's get a mind. Let's get more theories. Let's learn to talk. Let's get emotions. We're doing better, aren't we? Yay, we're getting better. We got emotions. We got a family. We're expressing ourselves. We're getting more confidence. We're fixing everything. We're getting better at cleaning things up, taking responsibility. Am I happy? No. Why aren't you happy? Because you're still separated from the oneness. Well, surely when I go meet people, that'll fix everything. Yeah, look at that. I got a partner now. That fixes everything, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. Well, maybe we need more sex. Maybe we need to get more passionate. So let's go into Scorpio. Ooh, it's thick. It's heavy. It's Photo Play magazine, right? Remember that? So you get intense and you get closer and a relationship becomes one and you become like any tight couple. And then that doesn't work and ultimately because the soul needs to get bigger. So you go overseas and you travel and you see all this stuff and you get a degree and you get bigger. And then you get so big, you go out into the world and you're getting established in the world and you're really pretty secure and you're really pretty strong and you come to Aquarius. And in Aquarius, you come to I don't need anybody else. My own ideas are sufficient. I'm totally comfortable being alone. I'm friendly with everybody. I'm friendly. I'm confident. I'm tolerant. But I'm still not satisfied. How can you be satisfied when you're still separate from the one? So the Aquarius has answered all the questions. All the questions. It has fulfilled the individuality of Aries. All little weaknesses inside the individual are now compacted already, all together. But the very thing that Aquarius has fought for, individuality, is the thing that keeps him from God. So, are you meaning to tell me I got to give up my individuality? Are you meaning to tell me I got to give up all that work? I got to give up my individuality? And God says that Aquarian, it's a myth. You never had it. It was a story you invented. And that's why all this Buddhism and Catholicism and all the isms, all of them are about giving up the self. They're all about it. Getting past the self, the ego, the separateness. Every one of them is about the same thing. And that's why when you cross that border, that final border into Pisces, Pisces is about letting go. Virgo's all about holding on, being different. Pisces is about let it go. Let it all happen. Virgo, oh, this is also important. We have to be real rigid about this and get things just exactly right. Pisces about knowing that. Let it go. Let it go. Let it be as it is. A revolutionary concept to the entire zodiac. And a deadly one to Pisces. If they don't know how to use it right. It becomes deadly because Pisces' motto is, hey, it doesn't matter. But boy, after a while, if you're not careful, it doesn't matter. It will backfire on you. Because it does matter, but it doesn't. It does, but it doesn't. So we've gone all the way around the zodiac. We end up back with a full self in Aquarius, which is just a dream. It's not real. We go into Pisces. What do we do with it? Let it go for what it is. It just was imagined. We fall back into the Pisces dream state, which is real close to the reality of things. But that's the touchy part of Pisces. Is it real or is it a dream? Is it real or is it a dream? And that's why many Pisces just can't handle it. And I spent a lot of time in the book. The whole book is a crescendo to the sign of Pisces. And that's why I spend a lot of time trying to explain to Pisces what they are, what they're not, and what they are. Most of them can't handle it. Like you got Ksenia Moore, who's on our show, wonderful healer, Pisces. She got a lot of Virgo in her chart. She's one of the Pisces people that can handle it. She has it in perspective. And that's the key to the Pisces stage, is being without an ego, but having yourself in perspective. Without an ego, but within perspective. Really difficult to do. Most of them are just lost. They're just lost. End up alcoholics, end up having affairs, end up being listless. It's a tough sign. Anyhow, that's your long 90-minute story of the zodiac. Right on time, Mr. Capricorn. But I think you've seen, Susan got a kick out of that. I think you've seen how each sign has a power that when used incorrectly becomes a problem. Each sign has a real power, and they really need that. And that's their job in the zodiac, to establish it, but not go too far. And that's why we all need each other to counterbalance things. I did a funny newsletter 15 years ago about what if the whole world was all Aries. It was a lot of fun. I'll have to dig it up. What if it were all Cancers? What if it were all Libras? I'll dig that up some night and lay that on you, because it was quite funny. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed tonight. It's kind of a serious education in the zodiac, but you need it. You really need it. I hope it helped you put 2 and 2 together. I really encourage you to get the book and read the whole thing, because it takes it very slowly and explains pretty well the different signs. Next week will be my final week in December. We will talk about people with really strong Arises in their chart, like Applewhite. Remember him? Remember Applewhite? The guy that hid behind a comet and had everybody take their Nike shoes off. Remember him? He was a cult master.
Oh, wow.
Some whacked out people. Some people with really strong Arises are pretty whacked out, but they're also some of our strongest rebels. Next week will be about strong Arises. Then the last two, 22nd, 29th, I'm off. 22nd December, 29th, I'm off. Then we come back for show 300, January 5th, with Ksenia Moore. Okay, that's it. I know you get tired of listening. I get tired of doing it. It's hard.
Oh.
It's hard work. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
Rick.
Happy birthday, Mary
you, Rick.
Lou.
Happy birthday.
happy
Merry
birthday.
Christmas. Happy holiday.
Happy-
Happy birthday to Susan,
Happy
too,
birthday,
on
Susan.
Saturday.
Yes.
Susan, that's right.
And Liza's coming up. And thank you, Mr. Sigmund. And thank you for joining us, Mary Lou. We'll see you next time.
First time. Thank you.
All right.
This will be on the internet in a few minutes, about a couple hours.
Okay.
It'll be on
Everybody.
my site on YouTube if you want to watch it again. Bye now. Be careful
night.
traveling, Miss Susan.
Will do.
I'll be in Sacramento next Thursday, darn it, and right on your Eris night, too.